अब आइडियली ये कार इस सीरीज के अंदर थोड़ा सा लेटर ऑन आनी चाहिए थी, बट सिंस द premise was already set, I just had to do it. We are talking about a car that does everything, and it does everything amazingly well. If you want to get a car which can take your family from point A to point B, this car will do it. अगर आपका कंसर्न है टाइट पार्किंग स्पेसेस, this car will eliminate your concern. अगर आपको माइलेज चाहिए, the truth is आज की डेट में टू व्हीलर्स है that cannot match the mileage that this very car delivers. If you suffer from tight alleyways जहाँ से आपको navigate करना है, if your city suffers from bad traffic conditions, this is the car to do it. In fact, अगर आप इस गाड़ी के अंदर हो, तो ट्रैफिक सिचुएशन के अंदर स्मॉल डेंट स्क्रैचेस ये तो आपका कंसर्न होगा ही नहीं. उल्टा किसी और ने अगर आपको इस कार में देख लिया तो मे बी they'll get concerned. उसके ऊपर से if you want to cruise on the highway, this car will do the speed limit without breaking a sweat. And the most amazing, the most impressive part of it all, even at high altitudes, even at places जहाँ पे rough roads है, broken roads है, places where there are sheets of ice जहाँ पे conventional 4x4s like the Thar and the Jimny have struggled, this car has broken through, has tackled those very roads, putting conventional 4x4s to shame. 4x4s to shame. Maruti Suzuki, in a bid to create the perfect alternative to the 800, knowingly or unknowingly ended up creating an absolute monster. Some people call it the Lord, I call it a legend. मैं हूं संग्राम and this is the legend of Maruti Suzuki Alto. The Maruti Suzuki Alto was launched in India on September 27, 2000. The first generation Alto was based on the 5th gen Alto K car which was sold in Japan and came with larger engine options. The second generation was a standalone model and used the same platform as the first gen. The third generation which is being currently sold has the same underpinnings as the Maruti Suzuki Espresso. Maruti Suzuki Alto was always seen as the natural successor to the 800. इसमें 800 वाली वो सारी बातें तो थी ही, which was enough to attract the average customer, but उसके अलावा it gave in some creature comforts like power windows, power steering, power assisted brakes. Alto ने अपनी lifetime में कई सारे records तोड़ रही है. It was the first car in the Indian market to sell more than 2 lakh units in a financial year. Since 2006, Alto has been the best-selling car in the country, and as of 2024, it is the only car to have sold more than 50 lakh units. In August of 2010, Maruti Suzuki launched a new version called the Alto K10, which is powered by a 1-liter K-series DOHC inline 3-cylinder petrol engine which produces 68 PS of power and 19 Newton meters of torque. Surprisingly, this is a very fun car to drive, and अगर इंटरनेट की मानी जाए तो some websites claim that this car can achieve top speeds of 150 to 160 km per hour, which, considering the size of the car, is a lot. And just to prove this point further, ये तो मैंने खुद ने देखा है. I've been on the highway जहाँ पे मैं आराम से I'm there on the speed limit and I see an Alto just cruising by me. And ऐसा नहीं है कि एक अकेला इंसान उसको बैठ के चला रहा है. The 5 seats are filled, the luggage is filled up, and उसके ऊपर से all the 4 windows are also open. Alto in so many ways defies the laws of physics.
How exactly does something like this work?
Until the launch of the K10 in 2010, the Alto came with a 796cc inline 3-cylinder engine which produced 47 PS of power and 69 Newton meters of torque. A new version of the Alto was also released on October 16 and 2012. This second generation was actually cheaper than the first generation because this truly was the successor to the 800. 800 already phase out होनी शुरू हो चुकी थी because with the introduction of new Bharat Stage 4 and Euro 4 norms, emission standards बढ़ गए थे, regulation standards बढ़ गए थे, and Maruti obviously did not want to have 2 cars competing in the same segment. Even the Alto 800 was discontinued in 2023 because of the same reason, strict emission norms, stricter regulations, but the Alto K10 is still available in the market and it's still out there for you to go and buy. The Alto is one of those few cars which were made to do a very specific task. It was supposed to replace the 800. It was supposed to be that budget-friendly car of the average Indian family, but somehow it has turned into a car which does much more than that. To just give you an example, हमारे नॉर्मल सिटीज के अंदर हमने नॉर्मल टैक्सीज वगैरह देखी है, ऑल्टो तो खैर हर जगह, बट सरप्राइजिंगली व्हेनेवर यू गो इनटू द माउंटेन्स आपको एक आधी ऑल्टो दिखेगी ही दिखेगी. Okay, given the fact that this car produces 68 PS of power with such a small chassis, वो तो एक बात हुई because the power to weight ratio is really high. But the interesting part is वो छोटे-छोटे टायरों में ये traction कैसे बनाती है? And also the Alto is surprisingly fun to drive. So I believe that Maruti Suzuki produces decent suspensions, amazing mileage. The build quality is a little questionable, although people are saying कि जो new Desire आई है, it is still pretty good. But I think there are only two cars जिनको चलाने में कहीं ना कहीं थोड़ा मजा आता है. One is the Swift and the other undoubtedly is the Alto. The gearbox is nice. The engine for the size does what it needs to do. Whenever you get into an Alto, आपको अगर कोई गाड़ी चलानी आती है नहीं आती, आप किसी भी नई गाड़ी के अंदर जाओ, you have to get used to it. You have to get used to the ergonomics, the dimensions of the car. But the Alto is comfortable for everyone and anyone who gets into it, no matter what they've done, no matter what they've driven, and no matter what they want to. I'm pretty sure you must have seen that video जहाँ पे बर्फ के अंदर Thars, Scorpios, Jimneys फिसलती भी नीचे आ रही है, and suddenly a Scorpio. And suddenly an Alto comes in, takes a turn and just goes straight up. Again, this car has continued to defy the laws of physics, will continue to do so. Now what is there in the future of the Alto? No one knows. Will it go electric? We don't know. How much will the internal combustion engine survive? But although this episode wasn't as filled with stories as history as the other ones, but The Alto is one of those cars जो आराम से धीरे से मार्केट के अंदर आई, कब इसने कैप्चर कर लिया, कब इसने टेक ओवर किया, किसी को मालूम ही नहीं पड़ा. Because in a bid to create something simple, Maruti Suzuki ended up creating something spectacular.